You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, off-season basketball. It's been a rough few hours for off-season basketball. Unrivaled. Who knows if it's going to be around in 2027 by the time all these players fly the coop, so to speak, and head off to Project B. Sophie Cunningham on our podcast proclaimed, you're going to have some people switching. You're going to have some people switching. All right? I mean, it's a 5x5 league. That automatically makes it more attractive. And there's a whole lot more money. About 8.5 times. 8.5 times. Think about that. $250,000 goes in Unrivaled, goes up to $2 million in Project B. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Who the hell is going to be playing in Unrivaled? Besides the owners, the two owners, and they may start looking at Project B going, what am I doing right now? And then you've got the other issue for Project B. Well, there's two issues. You got one for Project B and Unrivaled. All right. Here's the thing. It looks like Project B could squeeze off or choke out Unrivaled. And then you have the WNBA's proposed early start choking out Project B and other off-season basketball leagues. And you've got this that's also going to affect Unrivaled. TNT Sports is a media driver. Where do you think Unrivaled gets aired? Right? TNT Sports. True TV. They also had another massive platform that they're aired on, which is going away for them as part of this $82.7 billion deal. And this got conveniently lost in this front office sports article because, well, they don't title things like we do. You know, Unrivaled is doomed. Come on, front office sports, grow a pair. Sports content is not at the heart of the blockbuster $82.7 billion deal from Netflix that they struck on Friday for the studio and streaming assets of TNT Sports parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery. That fact adds to an already uncertain path for TNT Sports, but optimism remains within that entity. Before the Netflix deal, WBD detailed a plan to split into two separate companies, one with studio and streaming assets and Discovery Global that will house linear channels such as TNT, TBS, and CNN, as well as most of its sports portfolio. The Netflix agreement folds directly into that, with WBD split scheduled for completion in third quarter of 2026. This is the part that is bad news for Unrivaled. TNT Sports has actively been in the midst of recalibrating its sports rights, particularly after the loss of NBA Live rights, adding or sub-licensing a wide range of content, including Tennis French Open and a large battery of college sports content. Discovery Global also is developing a new sports-centric streaming service. So they're coming up with a new sports streaming service, but boy, you're about to lose a lot of potential subs. Right here, access to a lot of potential viewers, as TNT sports content will not be shown on HBO Max as it is right now. Until the split, the sports will continue on HBO Max. So it's going to be Unrivaled to be on HBO Max like it was last year, but it won't after this year. And yeah, they may be coming up with their own sports streaming service. But do you know how many people just already had HBO Max? I think it was the second or third largest streaming service in existence. But some little old streaming service started by WB for sports is about to do what exactly? That's not gonna have access to nearly the same amount of eyes that HBO Max has got right now, which is gargantuan. So that brings us over here. Players have not been in favor of removing team housing or an early start date, with more than one expressing concerns to front office sports. One thing is becoming clear: front office sports is the mouthpiece for the players. I'm just calling it like I see it. The early start date has drawn heavy criticism, with multiple players telling front office sports the WNBA is not yet the premier league in terms of salary, resources, and benefits. As a result, they believe the league should not interfere with outside earning opportunities until it's ready to compensate them in a way that warrants their exclusivity to the WNBA. The WNBA has not explicitly stated a desire to implement exclusivity, meaning players would not be permitted to play in other leagues, according to multiple sources. However, those same sources said exclusivity has been implied with a proposed longer season. So that they're telling you right there that they're wanting an earlier start date to crunch in. In this case, we know it crunches into Project B, it crunches into EuroLeague, it crunches into March Madness. Now, Project B, EuroLeague, hey, whatever. The WNBA shouldn't worry about that. March Madness, that's the one they should worry about. All right? They better be working hand in hand with the NC2A. The NFL's smart on that. They know the NC2A is their minor league system. The Lincoln schedule would interfere more heavily with EuroLeague, which runs from September to April, and the new startup 5-on-5 league, Project B, which runs from November to April. It goes on to talk about all the big names that signed over there. The draft combine, which has been in the league's proposal since last spring, is lacking some much-needed detail, according to sources. As of now, questions remain on the combine, when the combine would be held, and who would be mandated to attend. I can't say I blame the league for wanting a combine, to be honest. They can't attend a combine while they're still... I mean, the combine's what? Probably one day? I mean, one afternoon of workouts, probably? Of, let's size you up, height, weight, a few drills, go back to college. Just that quick. I don't see an issue with that. I don't. If I was the players in the league, I wouldn't bitch too much about that. But, Unrivaled sort of getting a double death here. They're facing the loss of HBO Max distribution, their streaming service that showed the games. Otherwise, you got to have TBS or TNT or True TV through Dish or cable or something, another streaming service that shows actual live sports. Or you were consuming Unrivaled on HBO Max. And they're going to lose that. Combined with losing a bunch of players from Project B, I think Unrivaled, I think it's a wrap. I think it's a wrap. I could see some kind of an announcement next year. Fourth quarter, Unrivaled's chosen to not, blah, blah, blah. Because, if they only have C-tier talent with like 5 quote-unquote stars playing, ain't nobody watching that. And is Warner Brothers Discovery Global going to want to keep that around as an expense? TNT Sports, in other words. This is interesting. The plot thickens on Unrivaled. I guarantee you that. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.